There's a specific feeling that happens in a rehearsal room. You play a rough chord idea, barely formed, not sure if it's anything, and the person across the room hears it, reacts, plays something back. And in that exchange, that tiny moment of call and response, something that didn't exist a second ago suddenly does. That isn't just collaboration, that's activation. And it's a feeling a lot of musicians haven't had in a long time. There's a version of making music alone that feels noble, self-contained, independent, not needing anyone else. And for a while it works. But for a lot of musicians, especially later in life when time is tight and self-criticism is louder, solo creation doesn't feel noble anymore. It feels quiet in the wrong way. The ideas still come, but they don't really go anywhere because there's no one there to receive them. Let's talk about what actually happens when nobody is in the room. You get an idea, maybe something genuinely interesting, and instead of developing it, you start interrogating it. Is this any good? Has someone already done this? Is this worth spending my time on? Should I start something else? By the time you finish that loop, the idea is dead. Not because it was a bad idea, because it never got to breathe. Overthinking, procrastination, perfectionism, endless tweaking. These aren't usually discipline failures. They're what happens when creative energy has nowhere to go. In chemistry, there's a concept called activation energy, the minimum energy needed to start a reaction. A catalyst lowers that threshold. The reaction that would never have started on its own starts. A bandmate is a creative catalyst. They lower the activation energy for making things. And what do they actually give you? What is it a bandmate provides that solitary processes cannot? The obvious answer is feedback, another set of ears, and that's probably the least interesting part. A good bandmate gives you permission to be unfinished. When you're creating alone, every idea has to justify itself before it gets made. It has to survive your internal critic, your sense of what you're capable of, your fear of wasting time on something that goes nowhere. When someone else is there, even just on the other end of a voice note that you just sent, the idea only has to be interesting enough to share. That's a much lower bar, and most ideas clear it. I had this in a band called Katfight, mid to late 90s, 5-piece, but the core of it was just 3 of us. Me, a prog metal lead guitarist called Kev, and a drummer called Jonathan who idolised Buddy Rich. We'd rehearse 3 or 4 evenings a week, up to 6 hours a session. Jonathan would start warming up, paradiddles, whatever drummers call their elaborate warm-up rituals, and Kev would take that as a challenge. Start trying to predict where Jonathan was going to go next, trading ideas without a word being said. After 5 or 10 minutes, I'd shout stop over the mic. We'd play back the cassette that was running the whole time, and I'd point at something, a riff, a moment, something that appeared out of nowhere that felt like it could be something. Then Kev would start pulling at that thread, playing variations, and Jonathan would be trying different things underneath. And I'd be going through my folder, A4 pages, lyrics, half ideas, looking for words that could fit what I was hearing. Nobody was directing it. Nobody had a plan. The song was finding itself in the room between 3 people who trusted each other enough to play badly in front of each other. There was one song, Elegance. Jonathan suddenly decided mid-chorus that he wanted to play in 6/4. Everything fell apart almost instantly, and he just looked up and said, no, keep going. By the end of the chorus, we'll be back in sync. And we were. And that swing, that moment of one person pulling the whole thing somewhere unexpected, gave the song a feel that none of us would have ever found editing alone in a bedroom with a door and a pair of headphones. Creative energy needs somewhere to go. That's what a bandmate actually gives you. Not just feedback, not just another set of ears, the permission to play badly in front of someone, the friction of a different instinct, the moment someone pulls the work somewhere, you wouldn't have taken it alone. There's also something about being witnessed. An audience receives your finished work. That's valuable, but a witness is present during the making, while the idea is rough and uncertain and could still go anywhere. That's the thing that makes the work feel real, not performed, real. And then there's friction, not conflict, friction. The slight resistance of another perspective. The moment someone says, that's interesting, but why if you took it this way instead? That friction is not an obstacle to creativity, it is creativity. Left entirely to yourself, the work spirals inwards. A second voice pulls it outwards, gives it shape it couldn't find alone. That version of making music belongs to a specific era for a lot of people. The physical band, the shared rehearsal space, Tuesday nights, a van outside a rider that was mostly lager. If you still have that, protect it, but a lot of people don't. Life changed, the band dissolved, everyone moved, got busier, had kids, stopped making the journey. And the natural response was to go solo, build the studio at home, stop needing anyone else, which works up to a point. Because the tools got better and the isolation got quieter, and somewhere in the middle, a lot of musicians stopped feeling like musicians. They felt like producers, hobbyists, people who used to be in a band. They're not. They're musicians who lost the relational energy that made the work feel worth doing. Relational energy, not just motivation. When you're younger, excitement carries you. Later, you need something more sustainable. You need other people who remind you that this is still worth doing. It's worth saying that followers are not the same thing. Followers may love your work, listen, share, respond with genuine warmth, but they receive the finished thing. They're never there for the uncertain middle. 1,000 people watching your output will not give you what one person in a voice note thread can, because followers validate the result. A bandmate helps create it. So, what does this actually look like now? Not a full band if that's not where you are, not a rehearsal space if that's not possible. One person, maybe two, someone who asks to hear the rough version, someone who texts back, someone who says, I think there's something in that, keep going. Someone who makes you braver. It could be a co-writer, a producer who gets you, an old friend from the band days who's still making things, someone you meet through making things. The format doesn't matter, the direction of travel does. So stop creating like a ghost. Before you close this, one honest question. Who makes you want to make music? Not who listens to it, not who encourages you from a distance. Who is the person or people whose presence in your creative life makes the work feel alive again? If you have a clear answer, that relationship is worth protecting. If you don't, that might be the thing worth looking for. Not more gear, not a better workflow, not a longer creative session, the right person in the room, or close enough to one. If part of what is missing is the right people in the room, there's something I've built deliberately into the work I do with musicians. Worth looking at if that's where you are, link in the description.